What could possibly lead an experienced hiker well-equipped for survival to disappear without a trace in the Colorado wilderness? Our story begins with Dr. James McGrogan, a man not unfamiliar with the rugged terrains and capricious weather of the great outdoors. A seasoned hiker, McGrogan was well acquainted with the challenges that nature often presents. He was the kind of person who always came prepared, armed with survival gear and a GPS tracker, ready to take on the unpredictable wilderness. On a chilly winter day, McGrogan and his companions set out on an ambitious journey to the Eisman Hut via the Spraddle Creek Trail in Vail, Colorado. The group was filled with anticipation, expecting nothing more than the usual trials and triumphs of a winter hike. Little did they know, their expedition was about to take a turn for the unexpected. As they navigated the snow-covered paths, McGrogan, always the adventurer, decided to forge ahead of his group. He was last seen alive by his companions, disappearing into the thick white blanket of winter, the crunch of his boots on fresh snow slowly fading away. His friends assumed he was just taking his usual lead, anticipating his triumphant return with tales of the trail ahead. However, as minutes turned to hours, and hours into chilling silence, the thrill of the hike began to be overshadowed by a growing sense of unease. Despite his vast experience and his well-prepared kit, McGrogan had vanished into the wilderness, swallowed by the very elements he had strived to conquer. The wilderness, which once echoed with the camaraderie of friends, now held an eerie silence, punctuated only by the whistling wind and the beating hearts of his companions. As the reality of his disappearance sank in, the group was left with a chilling question that would haunt them for days to come. Where was Dr. James McGrogan? His sudden disappearance left his companions in shock, initiating a massive search operation. In the face of this baffling disappearance, an exhaustive search was launched. But would it bring the answers everyone hoped for? A concerted effort was made to find Dr. McGrogan. Aided by the sharp eyes of helicopters, the search spanned an extensive area of 18 square miles. This landscape, a blend of rugged wilderness and icy terrain, was methodically combed. The search teams ventured into the heart of the wilderness, driven by a hope that the missing hiker could be found. The search wasn't limited to the ground, as helicopters took to the skies, their whirring blades cutting through the crisp mountain air. From high above, they scoured the terrain, their cameras capturing every inch of the land below. The aerial view provided a fresh perspective, but it also underscored the daunting nature of the task at hand. The vast expanse of wilderness was both breathtaking and intimidating, a reminder of how easy it was to lose oneself amidst the imposing mountains and dense forests. The search was exhaustive, with every possible area meticulously inspected. Among these areas was Booth Falls, a treacherous location known for its ice falls and rugged terrain. Despite its challenging nature, search teams navigated the area, scanning for any sign of Dr. McGrogan. The area was thoroughly searched, yet no trace of the experienced hiker was found. As the days turned into a week, then two, the search continued unabated. Yet each passing day brought with it a growing sense of unease. The absence of any sign of Dr. McGrogan was perplexing. With his experience and the survival gear he had with him, it seemed unlikely he would simply vanish without a trace. The diligence of the search teams was unwavering, their determination fueled by the hope of finding Dr. McGrogan alive. Yet, as the search stretched on, the mystery only deepened. Despite these efforts, Dr. McGrogan remained missing, deepening the mystery. 20 days later, an unsettling discovery was made, a discovery that raised more questions than it answered. The serenity of Booth Falls, a picturesque veil of ice, was disrupted by the disturbing sight of Dr. James McGrogan's lifeless body. He lay at the foot of the ice fall, a stark contrast to the pristine winter beauty around him. But the location of his body wasn't the only thing that sent a chill down the spines of the search team. The circumstances of his presence there were nothing short of baffling. Dr. McGrogan was found partially undressed, his body exposed to the harsh winter elements. His boots, essential for any hiker traversing the treacherous terrain of Vail, were nowhere to be found. This was a man known for his careful preparation and respect for the dangers of the wilderness. So why would he remove his clothing and boots in an environment where hypothermia was an ever-present threat? But the mystery deepened. The area where Dr. McGrogan was discovered was not only perilous, but nearly inaccessible. Nestled in the shadow of towering cliffs blanketed by thick snow and cut through by a tumultuous river, Booth Falls was a formidable challenge for even the most experienced hikers. How could McGrogan, without his boots, have navigated his way to such a remote and dangerous location? And then there was the question of the search. Booth Falls had been meticulously combed during the initial efforts. Helicopters had swept over the area, eyes had scanned every inch, and yet McGrogan's body had remained undiscovered until 20 days after his disappearance. How was it possible that he ended up in an area already scoured by the search team? Each piece of the puzzle seemed to contradict the next, creating a tapestry of confusion and intrigue. The man known for his meticulous planning and respect for the wilderness had seemingly abandoned his survival instincts, and the location, so difficult to access, seemed an impossible destination for a man without boots. The discovery of Dr. McGrogan's body only intensified the mystery, leaving everyone asking what really happened. Despite the grim discovery, the circumstances surrounding Dr. McGrogan's death remained shrouded in mystery. As the dust settled and the harsh reality sank in, a flurry of perplexing questions swirled around, each one more baffling than the last. For a man as experienced and well-prepared as Dr. McGrogan, the absence of any distress signal was a conundrum. His GPS tracker, designed to be a lifeline in the face of danger, remained ominously silent. No emergency calls were made, even though the area was well within cellular reach. One had to wonder, why would a seasoned hiker like Dr. McGrogan, armed with the tools to signal for help, not use them in his time of need? Adding to the mystery was the treacherous terrain around Booth Falls. Navigating such hostile territory would have been a daunting task for even the most seasoned mountaineers. The icefall where he was found was a challenge to access, even for the seasoned search and rescue team. How did Dr. McGrogan, alone and in distress, manage to traverse this unforgiving landscape? Further deepening the enigma was the state in which Dr. McGrogan was found. Partially undressed, missing his boots, it was an unsettling sight that defied logic. In the biting cold of the Colorado winter, why would he choose to part with his clothing, his only defense against the chill? The loss of his boots was particularly puzzling. Without them, the dangerous journey across icy terrain would have been nearly impossible. Each question seemed to lead to another, forming a tangled web of mysteries that refused to unravel. The more we tried to piece together the puzzle, the more elusive the final picture seemed to become. The questions surrounding Dr. McGrogan's death continue to baffle those who seek answers. As we delve deeper into this enigma, we're left with a haunting sense of uncertainty. The tragic tale of Dr. McGrogan's final journey serves as a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of the wilderness, and the mysteries it can sometimes hold. The mystery of Dr. James McGrogan's disappearance and death remains unsolved, a haunting reminder of the unpredictability of nature. The story of this well-prepared, experienced hiker who embarked on a winter journey, only to meet a tragic end, continues to baffle us. Let's retrace our steps. Dr. McGrogan, along with his group, set out to reach Eisenman Hut via the Spraddle Creek Trail in Vail, Colorado. Despite the biting cold of winter, he was prepared, yet he separated from his group, his last sighting alive by them still etched in their memories. Despite extensive search efforts that spanned 18 square miles for 20 long days, he remained elusive. He was eventually found at the bottom of an icefall in Booth Falls, a location previously scoured by search parties. The location, treacherous and difficult to access, raises questions about how Dr. McGrogan managed to traverse such challenging terrain. The perplexing circumstances surrounding his death deepen the mystery. Dr. McGrogan, equipped with survival gear and a GPS tracker, didn't activate his tracker or make an emergency call. The area had cellular reception, so what stopped him? And then, there's the odd state in which he was found, partially undressed and without his boots. All these factors add layers of intrigue to an already puzzling situation. The coroner's report, citing multiple injuries including head trauma and a broken femur as the cause of death, leaves us with more questions than answers. How did he sustain these injuries? Was it the harsh winter conditions, an unfortunate fall, or something else entirely? The enigma surrounding Dr. McGrogan's disappearance and death persists, a jigsaw puzzle with many missing pieces. As we continue to speculate and seek answers, we're reminded of the stark realities of life's fragility and nature's formidable power. As we ponder over this tragic mystery, we're reminded of the power of nature, the fragility of life, and the enigma that was Dr. James McGrogan's untimely demise.